Hello everyone, Shadefyre here, and welcome to another Elden Ring Boss Bytes. Today we're going to be taking on Elemer of the Briar, and this is a boss that actually gave me significant trouble when I first came here to the Shaded Castle, which if you haven't seen it, this is basically a castle that is also a poison swamp. One of Miyazaki's many promised poison swamps from this game. The area itself is not too difficult, but then I got to this boss, and he just handed me my ass over and over again, and I was like, fuck it, I'll come back here later. And now, that promised later has come, and we're going to try to beat him. Now, I'm not exactly sure what weapon I want to use here, because I have like 10 different weapons I've leveled up now, thanks to a very useful farming spot where you can get basically unlimited runes if you want to put some time into it. But I've been doing that purely just to level up weapons so that I have more variety, rather than just, grinding out a bunch of levels there. I'm only spending that farming spot runes on leveling weapons. So, I'm going to try out with the Carrion Knight Sword here, which is not my highest level weapon, but it is a mixed physical/magic damage weapon. It has a pretty cool weapon art on it that you can't change out. So this guy's main thing is that he has force powers. So he will throw his sword at you like that. But he has a lot of stuff that other bosses don't really have combined. So he will track you, he will punish you for healing, he will grab you, he will throw his sword at you. He has another move where he just crushes you with his shield if you get too far away from him, which somehow that's his long-range attack rather than throwing his sword at you. But yeah, he is a little tough to dodge, especially when you're pure melee. It sounds like other people who are pure melee had trouble with him, but not so much for other builds. And he has those real long wind-ups. I would love to use the special ability on him here. Yeah, that attack, that one fucks me up. It's so strong, and it goes so far. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I was like, this might be another case with the Ancestral Spirit, where this is going to be like a 7-minute video. Or even the Dragon. I guess the Dragon didn't take me very long, but this might actually be a long one. It's one of those things where if I run into a boss that I think is going to take me a while, I'd rather do them in one of these specifically boss fight videos than have them take up a big chunk of one of the adventure videos. So that way you know what you're getting in for if you decide to click on this. I think that actually would have hit him. I always misjudge the range on that attack, so I'm like, I end up slamming down this giant sword in front of the enemy, and they're very unimpressed. But he interrupted me right at the end there. See, I think the thing that messes with me is the timing. He has a lot of variable pauses between swings. Because old Dark Souls, you'd have the one enemy that will have big, long wind-ups for every attack, or you'd have the very fast enemy, but there usually wouldn't be a lot of enemies that were both. And then, as the Souls games went on, they tried to fuck you up more and more by mixing that stuff up. It might actually be better to stay close to him. He might be less likely to use his magic, but he also has that grab, which has a very generous hitbox. And like that, he didn't throw his sword, he just did more damage with it. He also has this big grinder move, where he spins up his sword and then throws it into you, and then holds it there. But he hasn't used that one yet. Man, he is tough. And I've heard that he's not even a unique boss. There's actually a tougher version of this guy later that you can run into, but he's kind of harder to find. I think he's one of those night-only bosses. Which I didn't even know were in this game until somebody else ran into one that I was watching. And you would think that rolling close to him when he throws his sword is the thing to do, because he doesn't have it on him, but then that move where he pulls it back to him, that also hits you. So you're not even safe from just the return. It's just kind of weird, the difficulty spike between this area and the boss itself. Like, the area is annoying because it's full of poison, but it's not really that difficult. I think the hardest enemies here are the Clean Rot Knights, and there are only like 2 of them. Oh no, wait, there's one of those Royal Revenants too, and those things fucking suck. Oh, see that big pause before he actually swings the grab? That's what fucks me up too. He's also very difficult to stagger. And I think getting hit by the floating sword actually stun locks you a little bit, because I'm mashing roll and I'm not moving. So I think if you get hit by one of those, you're gonna get hit by the next one. But it could be just bad timing, I don't know. Man, I'm actually doing worse against him than when I first tried him, where I'd at least get him down to like half health. But we might switch up weapons, because, like I said, this is not my best weapon. I just thought I'd give it a try for that extra damage. We might switch back to the Great Epee, which is my main. That's the one I pull out when things get hard. Also, that grab doesn't even do that much damage. So I don't know why he gets such a freebie on it. This fucking, like, dining room, though, that you have to fight him in. Okay, here comes the spin. Oh, he ends it with a swipe, too. God damn it. Okay. Clearly, the sword is not working. It does okay damage, but it's not leveled up enough to be useful here. I mostly have it so that I can use it against stuff that is resistant to physical damage. Alright, let's try out the FA. It might not work great here, because that's what I was using the first time I fought him. And worst comes to worst, we could always go back to the Ice Rhine Hatchet and use the overpowered Hoarfrost Stomp. Though I think I had that before when I fought him as well, and it just didn't work that well on him. Okay, what's you gonna open with? See, and like that explosion, he only does that if you get close, so that you can't even punish him for using the wrong move. And it feels like that's one thing that's going to get worse and worse with every further Souls game, is you're going to have more and more bosses that constantly try to fuck you over by not following expectations. Which is fine if you're, you know, a returning Souls player, but somebody who's new is just going to feel worse and worse every time they run into something like that in a game that they've never played. Yeah, this was, I think, definitely the weapon to use. It just does so much more damage now because it's level 17. I don't know how exactly you'd compare the special weapons with the regular ones, because the regular ones go up to plus 25, and the special ones only go up to plus 10. So I think generally the special ones get more of a boost per level than the regular ones, but, you know, what is a plus 5 equivalent to? Is that like a plus 15, or is it like a plus 12? You know, whereabouts do they match up? I should never let myself open the fight. Always gotta wait to see what he does first. Oh my god, those super slow moves. So people will say that with difficult bosses in Souls, to get good, you just need to learn their attack patterns and their timings. But of course, this is like anti-Souls design, where they change the timings and the animations for the attacks, so you can't learn them easily. Okay, we wait till he opens. He's gonna open with a spin, which sucks because that means he's gonna swipe. Fucking hell, that does so much range on that swipe. I was behind him and he still hit me. It's just like, why did they choose to have all these tables in the arena? It's just there to be annoying. Because you can roll through the tables, but they're still gonna block you. Unless you're just spamming roll, which you should never really do. One thing I honestly don't think they still do, though, is in old Souls games, if you rolled and got hit during the non-invincibility frames, you would take like double damage. Same if you were jumping. And see, he didn't swipe that time because I wasn't close enough, because he was reading my kind of follow-up. Okay, fuck that. I was definitely out of range with that one. And basically, if you get knocked out of range, you should never heal, because he's just gonna throw his sword at you. Like, he does that every time I'm low health and I get knocked away. It's also kind of interesting because they added that guard counter mechanic where if you block an attack, you can do a follow-up. That's kind of useless against most bosses unless you use it on the last hit of their combo, because otherwise, when you go to do the counter, they just hit you and cancel the counter. I mean, that's one thing I've always thought is a little bullshit in all Souls games, is the magnetizing grab attacks, where it's like they just kind of snap to you from a distance. But we'll get this. I am still confident I can beat him. I do enough damage, I just have to not get hit so much. But, again, as a purely melee build, I feel like at this point in the game, I'm starting to have to just take hits in order to get hits. Because they just have so many follow-ups to everything. Look at that, that was like a 7-hit combo. I can't imagine this guy with 4 times more health. Like, why would you even want to play at that point? Then again, I bet you can backstab the other one and not this one. I don't know. It's like most bosses you can't really backstab unless you knock them down, but he is fairly human-sized. I haven't even tried backstabbing him. Then again, he also does have a shield on his back, so that might cancel it out. Not sure. Should also mention that this guy is entirely optional. There's no reason that I have to beat him. I just am insistent that I beat him. And I'm hoping he drops something decent, like his weird square sword, or his weird briar-covered armor, which doesn't seem to have anything to do with the rest of the theme of this castle. Which are like Scarlet Rot worshippers. God damn it. See, he like throws the sword anytime you're low health. It feels like he is given too much information about what the player is going to do compared to your average boss. And even with the Ice Rind Hatchet, I think... Oh yeah, I love when he opens with that move and you don't even see it coming. Sometimes he'll hit you as soon as you come out of the door. I hate that one so much. The 4-hit combo where he pauses after the first 2. The timing for that, I cannot figure out how to dodge. But I think I need to roll towards him when he does it, because he swings kind of long. Well, my confidence is gone that I can beat this guy. Because I'm not really doing progressively better, I'm kind of just doing worse. I need to be more aggressive. Again, I tend to get little... cautious during fights like this, and these bosses punish caution. Okay. Another minor quibble that I get kind of annoyed about is when an enemy has a big charge-up attack, and you're like, oh, I'll just sidestep this, but they don't actually, like, target that attack until the last 2 seconds of the charge. So, you know, if you run behind them while they're charging up and then they just suddenly do a 180 to face you, you know, they snap to you before they do their actual move. Alright, good trade. Okay, there he didn't do a full spin, but he still spun. See? The second I think about touching that flask, he fucking throws a sword at me. It's like, as soon as you get hit, and then you start to back away, that triggers him to go, okay, there's my flask punish move. I guess the idea is, they're trying to keep the Souls games hard, even for people who are already familiar with them, and that means punishing your expectations as a returning Souls player. At least with that move, I can kind of also flip around. I'm trying to get a stagger on him at this point. Though I found, I think I mentioned this before, that at the point I'm at in the game now, the newer enemies that I run into are way harder to stagger, and it's starting to feel like that's not actually a viable strategy that'll carry you through the whole game, is going for the heavy attacks to stagger enemies and then giving them the crit. And there doesn't seem to be any way to boost your stagger. It's just use a heavier weapon. Oh boy. I do feel like when I go back to Dark Souls 2 to actually finish it, and, you know, fight the Fume Knight or whatever, it's going to feel a lot more basic by comparison and a lot more friendly when enemies don't have, like, 8-hit combos on everything. I don't know how that missed me. I rolled way too late. I didn't even get a chance to roll there. Yeah, come stare at the camera, asshole. I'm just surprised that I haven't heard this boss mentioned very much. I mean, I guess, again, he's kind of out of the way, and there's not really a reason to come up here. But compared to, like, Margit, a lot of people are talking about getting their asses kicked by Margit early on, or Tree Sentinel, or Radon, but not this guy. There we go. Three's a stagger. Okay, first time we've got him down to half health. Turns out I should just spam my fucking impale. Shit. Almost got him. Wow, that went like so much better than every other attempt. Mirai Executioner's Sword and the Briar Great Shield. Okay, so we didn't get his armor, but we got the rest. And that's it. That's all you get from this, is his stuff. And 28,000 runes, which is, that's almost the level, I guess. So I'm guessing I can't use this sword because, you know, all the great swords are strength weapons. Dark Souls 3 had at least one Dex greatsword, but I've yet to see one in this. It's a cool looking sword, though. It's a big fucking paddle. Storied Sword of House Mirai, the family of executioners who presided over the Shaded Castle, one of the legendary armaments. Okay, so that goes towards the achievement. Elemer of the Briar, the bell-bearing hunter, snatched the sword from the site of his looming execution and furnished it with battle skills from his home of Eokide. Eokide's dancing blade infused the sword with energy, then fling it forwards in a corkscrew attack. Okay, so that's why he doesn't have anything to do with the theme of the castle, is because he just stole their magic sword. And it looks like, yeah, you can actually throw the sword. And or spin it up. So that's kind of cool. I do like that some of the weapons actually have pretty unique, like, boss attacks as their weapon skill. Though, unfortunately, you can't change the scaling on those boss weapons. Great Shield from a foreign land, used by Elemer of the Briar. Attacks with this armament utilize the iron thorns that have been wound around its frame. Originates from Eokide, a land of proudly solitary ascetics. Well, I haven't heard any mention of Eokide before. Anyway, that is Elemer of the Briar, which I wanted to get out of the way before I do my next adventure video, where we are going to be going to, I guess, probably a legacy dungeon. Either Raya Lucaria or the Red Main Castle. Haven't decided yet, but I'm gonna record that in a moment, so thank you for joining me for this struggle against Elemer, and I hope you enjoyed the eventual victory. Till the next one, take care, folks.